All right, we are on another episode of GayBCD and another special Pride episode. And like we promised, we have a special guest with us. So let's say hi to our special guest first, which who's so I say hi to Suresh and hi Farhad. So
Hi.
welcome,
Hi,
Hello.
Suresh.
Suresh.
Hello. Happy Pride, both of y'all.
Happy
And
Pride to you
everybody.
too.
Happy Pride, guys. God, even on Clubhouse, everyone's like, Pride Month, Happy Pride Month, Pride. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm going to say it, guys. Okay. This has become my little Christmas. I feel pressure to have fun in Pride Month or feel proud in Pride Month.
Okay,
And
I just want to say that Pride Month wasn't even a thing till like a couple of years back. For me,
Yes.
Pride was always January because Bombay Pride was always in
Mhm.
January, and for me there is no Pride Month for India per se because we are so
No.
scattered, in terms of our Pride marches and our Pride, the
True.
things that we do. So,
True.
what
But I think
what's
but I think now the culmination has to come in September because September 6th, I think, is one of the biggest judgments.
hopefully?
You know? No, I mean it's already, right? The Supreme
I mean,
Court struck down
yeah,
section 377. So
yeah,
we
but
need to start celebrating that
actually,
as
that's
a
a good idea.
Pride
I
month.
think we
Yeah.
should we should do that. Why
Yeah.
don't we do that? That's
Yeah,
I've never thought about it.
everybody has Pride Month, which has to be there because it's an individual state or a city or a town that's
Yeah,
coming together to celebrate, right? So that should continue. But I think as a country together, I think we should start doing it September. I
yeah.
love June, but I think September
Oh,
is
I
more
don't
Indian
love June.
focused.
So I don't love June, and I think that if I had to pick a month, I'd pick like December because
Yeah,
the weather's better,
yeah,
and
true. Well,
you can like dress up.
yeah,
I mean,
true.
I know Pride is so much more than that, but I'm just like, yeah, that's a joke out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like welcome here, and how are you celebrating Pride?
Me, I'm kind of just being at home, trying to, wear as many colorful clothes and be out there having conversations with people. I think
Yeah,
June becomes a very, very, I wouldn't say difficult month, but I think it's a very exhaustive month because I've been invited everywhere to have conversations, spread awareness, which I
hmm,
love.
hmm.
I
So
really enjoy.
in a nutshell, why don't you tell us what you do, because that will kind of give our
Okay.
listeners an idea of why Pride is so important to you. Yeah.
Right. So I work in a corporate and I've been in working with HP for the last 16 years and 10 months. So another 2 months, I'm going to turn 17 there. And I work as, trainer, but also I mostly focus on diversity, equity, inclusion, and I lead the LGBT chapter for HP India. And with that, I do a lot of work around in the corporate space to help people from the community to be their true authentic selves at work, and I'm working more passionately towards trans inclusion. So we have now hired trans people in our
That's
organization,
fantastic.
and we're kind of spreading it around as well, saying that, hey, you know what, it's time. And we are also trying to help and build skill development programs for the trans people so that they can become corporate inclusive.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
amazing to hear.
How
That's amazing to
I would
hear.
love to know how did this come about? Like, did you interview for this with this in mind, or it's somehow this inclusion chapter was just something the company wanted to do and you
Well,
took it
yeah.
forward?
No, I kind of didn't interview this with the intent of doing inclusion. So I
Hmm.
was very much in the closet for 10 years of out of my 17 years of my work life, right? But when I came out in my organization, everybody while I was working, and then I said, hey, you know what? If I'm able to be authentic, if I'm able to live my life authentically outside work and within
Hmm.
work, why not do something for people within the organization?
Hmm.
Because I knew there are people, who are from the community in the organization, but very much in the closet, really not sure what to do, how to go about with it. And then I felt I wasn't in this position of privilege, definitely yes, and in a position of power in a certain ways because I was a trainer, I was getting acquainted to people from the leadership team. Then I came out there and I was super excited, I was super energized. I said, I want to do something for the community. Then let's start from workplace, right? So I said, if I can do it and help somebody else, why not? That's the journey which really started. And I asked people, hey, can we start an LGBTQ, chapter for India? And people were very supportive, right? They said, oh, come, please come. We want to start this chapter, but we didn't know how to go about with it
And
because we
that's
were
the
not sure.
problem. That's the problem, because a lot of organizations kind of want to do the right thing. It's just that there is so much trepidation because they think, am I going to how do I do the
That's
right thing without someone from the community? And how do I even say, are you part of the community, so be part of it, part of my thing, because that's offensive. So most organizations don't have a way ahead,
Right.
And I'm so proud to see this.
No, it is difficult to be honest, if you have to see the journey that I've been going through for the last 4 years with me coming out and taking a lot of conversations ahead. I do understand this whole perspective that the allies or the companies or organizations feel they're going to be walking on eggshells when they're going to have this conversation forward, because we see so much with regarding to the whole cancel culture, which is beginning to take a huge trend, right? So the moment somebody says something which is not correct, but they didn't say it with the intent of putting somebody else down, but then the way we kind of go bash them out is so not right. We want people to be inclusive. We want people to be accepting. Yes, we're going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about it.
And let there be a reform culture rather than a cancel
culture.
Like
the new term is call in culture, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, call in rather than call in rather than call
a
out.
lot about that.
I think we need to start getting there. I know where the anger is coming from. It's not that I don't understand where the anger is coming from, the community people, but I think we also need to take a step back and really understand that, hey, yes, majority of the people really don't understand who we are. Now, can we take that collective effort of making them understand? They are going to make mistakes. Can we be forgiving? But yes, in places where the intent is really strong and not right, call it out.
Of course.
Call it out. We need to do calling off, and then can we do it in a right way? Can we do it with the intent of letting them grow? I know people don't like, oh, how many times I'm going to keep teaching the same thing over and over again. But then to learn something, you will have to redo that whole process again. We didn't learn how to brush our teeth in 1 day or 2 days. It was a constant conversation, frustration, irritation by both parties, as a kid ourselves and then our parents.
And some people still don't know how to brush properly. Some people.
That is true.
And there are so many ways. And there are so many different ways to brush your teeth now. So you have to keep evolving and adapting.
Exactly right. So this is my process of conversation with people, saying that if 1 + 1 = 2, there is different ways. 0 + 2 is also equal to 2. Can we try different ways of educating our community and educating the straight folks, right? And make sure we're not going to get 100% commitment from the straight folks. We are going to find 50% who are super against, and we're going to have 30% who are on the fence, not sure. They will go with the majority. And the 20% who are the vocal advocates, right? So can we start working on that? It is tiresome. It is exhausting. But I think as few people or people from the community need to come together and really take this conversation forward, because end of day, we want to be in the larger society, whether we like it or not. I know it is frustrating. It is not the right thing also that, we have to make our place. But, in an ideal world, we really didn't have to. But hey, it's not a bloody ideal world right now. Correct? So we need to fight. We need to put our voice up there, and we need to really be there for people who cannot speak as well. Right?
I feel like let's see how we can tackle all of that. We'll take our first break. We usually
one second. We haven't even gone into the first segment.
We've gone.
So
okay. I thought we've gone over.
Good job, Farhad. Okay. One sec. So what I was saying is that if we as a community kind of start putting barriers and on this has to be done this way, we are the ones who've suffered because of that. Then we're just passing it on, right?
Exactly right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Sorry.
please.
Yeah, what I was wanting to say is that we are trying to break boxes. We are
Yeah.
trying to come out of boxes, but I think internally or invariably, because we are so deeply rooted with the box culture, we are trying to go get ourselves out of one box and put ourselves in some other boxes. When
Yeah.
everybody's trying to just break, let's break the boxes. Let's be in that common platform where we're accepted and acknowledged, and respected for who we are, and we respect everybody else for
Yeah.
who they are. Right? I think we need to come into that platform, but I think invariably we are
Yeah.
getting ourselves into other boxes.
Yeah, and speaking of that, in terms of our first segment, which is TikTok, there was this one little news article that really warmed the cockles of my heart.
Mhm.
There was this news article about this gentleman coming out to his family at the age of 73, and
Yeah.
and it's and the neighbors sort of came to know of that, and all of the neighbors sort of put up pride flags around them.
Oh,
And for me, that the reason why kind of this topic kind of makes sense is because at the age of 73, who's to say?
yeah.
This is why I think coming out is, we should sort of realign our expectations with coming out. Why is it a necessity?
Oh,
Do it
very
at your
true.
own time.
Yes.
Do it at your own time.
Well, I don't know, did it kind of happen coincidentally or not?
Sorry.
Oh no, well, I was just about to say that coincidentally or not, my post today
Mhm.
on Facebook or even on Instagram, all the social media, was around the fact that it is okay if you're still in the closet.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
okay if you're not ready yet. So I would just like to read that out because
Yeah.
it just was so, well, it's okay if you are still in the closet. It's okay if you're not comfortable coming out. It's okay if you're scared of reality. It's okay if you are still figuring it out. It's okay if you do not want to come out of the closet. It is all okay. It is your life. You know the situations and you know how to deal with it. To each and every person who's in the closet, all I want to say is that it's okay and I'm here for you. Let's be supportive, understanding, and accepting.
That's beautiful.
That was a post.
That's beautiful. I mean, that's exactly what we will talk about today. So we'll just take a quick break and then we'll be back for our main topic. And we are back with Suresh Ramdas and Farhad. So what we're talking about today is the idea, and this is particularly very, very relevant for our Pride Month, the idea of the new normal when it comes to how we function as individuals, as singles, as couples, as people in relationships. And that's why it was such a sweet segue when Suresh, you spoke about the idea of the pressure of coming out. Let's talk about that, about what is the expectation, like how do we clarify this large sort of elephant in the room, which is you don't need to come out when the society expects you to come out. So let's put it out there.
Sometimes I wonder if modern society, because we live in a time where it's kind of easier to come out than before, maybe I feel the people
sure.
the people who can't feel extra pressure, because I know, like, again, just based on my personal algorithms on my assorted platforms that I am on, I just see that, wow, oh, this boy is just 18 and he's out to his family. This boy does content where he's openly gay and making content with his family. And I'm starting to see a lot of that. And then I always quickly think about the boy who still can't come out. You know what I mean? Like, when he sees this content, there must be this added. On one level, yeah, there was always the pressure to come out because of the world, the straight, heteronormative, whatever, all of it. But now to see that, oh, even gay people are finding it easier to come out, and then there are people who are in a position or a situation where they can't come out anymore, I can just feel like the pressure must be somehow even more.
It's almost like you blame yourself, right? You think, wow, so it's easy for everyone, so there's clearly something wrong with me. I am deficient in some way that I can't do this right. And it's how do you come across people like that in your experience?
Yeah, very true. I mean, the fact that, the pressure, I think that's called an, underlying pressure or an invisible pressure that is put on people who cannot come out because they, be it on Instagram, be it on social media, we see a lot of people coming out and talking, hey, I've come out and finally I'm free, I'm doing this. But that puts a lot of pressure because the whole story is not told out there as to what are the difficult issues that they went through before coming out, right? So that is not spoken. We only speak, hey, you know what, I'm finally out and this. But are they really saying this true, honest thing? Yes, they've come out, but what are the repercussions of that? Are they kind of getting beaten up by their parents or put, in closed rooms? Or, what is the situation? Now, can we be honest? Yes, it is not easy to come out to our Indian parents, majority
Yeah.
of them, right?
Yeah.
There are few privileged people where parents are a little more forward thinking and they have the opportunity to accept their kids for who they are, while majority of the parents are very concerned about what the society is going to say. As a matter of fact, I have a gay son. If I have a daughter, oh my god, what's going to happen to my daughter with a gay son right now who's going out and showing off himself?
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
we really do? So because of that, there is a lot of issues that the person or the boy or a girl or whoever they are have that difficulty to really express themselves. And then you have social media out here, which is celebrating, and we invariably follow people that we like.
Yeah.
And they are putting up themselves there saying that, you know what, I'm loud, I'm out and proud. My parents are super happy, But we also need to look at this. What about people who don't need to come out?
Yeah.
In the fact that they're just getting that acceptance in a different way altogether. I
Yeah.
mean, there are times when you don't have to say you're gay, but they don't
Yeah.
put that pressure on you to get married as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
somewhere understand,
Yeah.
and we see, I personally have seen or heard stories where, especially from rural areas or villages,
Hmm.
where their parents are absolutely fine with who they are. Like,
Hmm.
ja beta, ji le apni zindagi types, they're encouraging them and motivating them, but they don't have a means of expressing it out
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because they don't have those jazzy videos or a jazzy picture posted, I'm out, and, with their parents and showing off. We need to, look at that perspective also. But I
And
think, yeah,
it's so important to kind of put this communication out there that there are so many ways to live your truth, and
yes,
being out in this stereotypical societal way of and I'm not condemning that by any means. Being out with, let's say, a rainbow filter and rainbow jacket and all of that is not the only way. Like you
yes,
said, there are I know of so many people in my close proximity in terms of family and stuff like that. I know queer people within the family who've figured their way out.
right,
They figured a way to kind of be self-reliant
Mhm.
and live their life. Have they ever said, I am queer or I am out in specifically those terms to their family? No. Everyone's kind of figured it out.
Mhm.
But does this person owe anyone any explanation? No. Do we?
I'm glad, every year there are around any sort of particular, I don't want to use the word event, but let's say it's Pride Month or the
Right,
Oscars. There are these buzzwords that pop up. Every year there's a new buzzword or a new
right,
buzz sentence. And this year I have been noticing pinkwashing, gay wash, basically. And the second conversation, I'm glad that's happening everywhere very strongly this time,
Mhm.
whether it's Clubhouse, whether it is hey, it's okay to not come out, which is
Yeah.
Yeah.
something like we've been saying constantly. But this year, I feel like somehow this conversation has come to the fore, and I don't know what the source is, but I'm glad that it's a dialogue that's very prominent out there right now.
True. And I think there's another one big topic which we always kind of want people in position of power to come out, right? A simple example. We
Yes.
always bash Karan Johar
Yes.
for
Yeah.
not coming out. But then does he want to take the baton of Indian LGBTQ community and say, hey, I'm the mother or godmother of community? No, he knows he's out to people, or I don't know if he's out to people as well, right? But
Hmm.
people around him are accepting him for who he is.
Yeah.
and whoever he is, right?
Yeah.
He's a father of two wonderful kids. He's got a mother who's loving. He's got friends who's very
Yeah.
understanding and accepting. Does he have to come out to the whole world? Not
Mm.
really. Does he owe it to them? No. I mean, it's his life.
Yeah.
So I think that's the whole point. People who want to come out and who can take the conversation forward, do it. If you don't have that, you don't want to do it, you want to lead your life the way, which is very simple, be in the closet or just be out to your close friends, that is okay as well. You know, we as a community should help and support people of every aspect, because we want diversity in our community, right? We have the diverse community. Now, why can't we have diversity and thought process even in the way people are coming out as well?
Absolutely. Word. Completely. Completely.
You know,
agree.
so I think these type of conversations need to start happening, and I think India is also in that way is growing, because initially it was all like, yes, all you people out there who are in the closet, come out. Why? Because we wanted that representation,
Yes.
so that the government or the Supreme Court does not call us a minuscule minority.
Minority.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's when the whole conversation of coming out really came in. Now that Section 377 is gone off, one hurdle is gone off. Now it's like, okay, what is the next conversation?
Hmm.
Right? I think the next conversation that they picked up is around relationships and marriage, right?
Marriages,
So now
yeah.
they're telling all you gay people who are in a relationship, please come out.
Come out.
Come out in the open and show that, you know,
Yeah.
we exist and we
Yeah.
are but then does everyone does everybody want to fight that battle? It is exhausting.
I'll give you an example. Okay, I've been out proud in most most as in like all aspects of my life now.
Right.
But I live alone in a society where I am pretty much one of the few single guys who lives in this society. Everyone's like a family and stuff like that. So if you ask me to come out and in so many words tell people in my society that I'm queer, I'll hesitate because I know the kind of people who live here. I know the kind of issues that can crop up. Do I edit myself in terms of the kind of clothes I wear? Of course I don't. I mean, I'm out in heels, walking to my cab every second day. Not right now, but like when I'm going out. So it's very clear. If people have to understand what I am, who I am, it's very easy to. But do I want to put it out there on record?
Yeah, but it's because it's such also a personal experience, right?
Yeah.
Coming out is such a personal. I
Yes.
want to choose who to. I have never explicitly on any job, even though I've been very out, like you said, Sunetra, I've never edited myself or altered myself in any way. But I've never also at work gone like, "Hi, I'm gay." You know what I mean? But if someone, like, for example, asks me, "Oh, do you have a girlfriend?" I'm like, "No, but I waste a lot of time on Grindr." I find a way to like put it out there that, hey, don't ask me that again, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And I have always kind of dwelled and enjoyed on their reactions, you know. I'm like I'm like a reaction vampire, like that, like just to see, like, through these little challenges that straight people in my life who think I owe them this kind of explanation, but I don't, honestly, you know. I don't owe them jack shit, and I can tell them if I want to. I don't want to tell them I don't have to, you know.
True.
So I remember how they used to, when I had a boyfriend around 5 years ago, and anytime there was an office gathering and you know, your plus one is also invited, they would always tiptoe to ask me, you know, like, hey, do you have a plus one you want to get, and all of that. I would sense that, and I would take great, like I would love how they get scared to ask me this shit, you know. In fact, I was recently talking about how I kind of the more I worked, the more like, now I've been like a working professional for over 10 years, but the more I worked, I remember I started realizing that I actually intentionally change my demeanor or mannerisms, which I don't know if it's healthy or no, but I know I specifically like started having a heavier baritone when I'm at work. I started having like I started getting more and more like
but that's
work,
editing yourself, right?
1 second, so that when they actually do know that I'm gay, that they are like, wait, what, how? So I again, which is why I say I don't know if that's healthy, but I know that I kind of used to dwell on it. Was my little fun at work that I used to have, you know. That was my way of having fun.
But it's okay, right? Because I think,
of course,
it probably brings out another version of you, but everybody has different versions,
Of
right? Be it
course.
at home, be it outside, be it with your friends, be it with your, and we also react or behave a certain way with our closest friends,
Yeah.
while with acquaintances and in the parties and all of that, right? So
Mhm.
it's okay probably to have
And
another version at work. Yeah.
and if we are editing ourselves to kind of feel safer, that's
Mhm.
also okay, because
Yes.
call it what you might, but the world's full of assholes out to get our community. And
Yes.
I have always lived in the fear of there being an asshole out
Hmm.
there. And this is exactly why, especially in the, see, when it comes to touchwood, when it comes to certain spaces of my life, I know that you can't touch me. But then there are
Hmm.
certain spaces. I live in a rented apartment. I don't have control over the narrative that can be built around me. I don't have
Right.
control over that. And there can be, I wish this was a New York where your sexuality doesn't matter when you're kind of signing a lease, but this isn't. At the end of the day, there is. I mean, my previous landlord was an absolute, like, gonad. Like, he was. He's told me stuff like, when I was kind of leaving the apartment, he's told me stuff like, there are a couple of women who are approaching me, but then women, to my God, you know what women are like. So
Mm.
single women are like this. So he is that kind of a person. Now,
Mm.
how do you not edit yourself in front of people like that? And in the work realm, like, how do you keep yourself safe? So I think even if you edit yourself just
Yeah.
to feel safe, it's all right. It's
Yeah.
absolutely okay.
And also, I just want to bring this out. One very specific point is that no matter in any part of the world, there are going to be times, or there are going to be places or opportunities where you need to edit to feel yourself safe.
Yeah,
Be it in the most gayest of gayest places, like, Sunetro,
absolutely.
you mentioned New York. In New
There are
York
so
doesn't
many
mean
gay
that.
bashing. Yeah,
Yeah.
gay bashing incidents in New York.
In San Francisco, the gayest
Yeah,
world in the, gayest place in the world does have gay bashing. New York does have,
yeah.
London does have racism. Any form, any place that you go, no matter how inclusive that place is, there is going to be
I've
some issue where you have to
I've
edit
gotten
yourself
called
out.
out. Like, I've gotten screamed across the street. Like, someone called me a faggot from the other side
Yeah.
of the street in San
Mhm.
Francisco.
Yeah,
In
there
San
is.
fucking Francisco. Can you
Yeah.
imagine?
Yeah.
What about Mykonos, guys?
You never know, because we've always been
I'm just trying to be
showcased or
funny.
highlighted. No,
Yeah.
I know that. But people probably don't put it out there, and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, this happened," because
Yeah.
they want to save that whole, a bubble
Idea.
that they're in. Yeah, that bubble that, oh, this is one of the gayest places and the fun place.
Yeah.
But when you go there, you'd automatically, even within the community, people will start segregating you. Oh, you look dark. Oh, you're black. Oh, you're, Hispanic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you can see that segregation happening, which is anyways there, right?
Which is endless.
And then you are not as per the norms of, six packs with bulging body, or, not with a big ding dong. Then you are again,
Hmm.
side casted for various things, right? So it is happening. You need to edit yourself in places. So I think it's okay.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, you
okay.
called
Yeah.
it ding dong. That's okay.
I
Okay, so let's talk about, we've spoken about, what it's like to be your authentic self, and there are so many ways to do that. But let's talk about relationships, because that's one of the biggest conundrums that our community
Right.
faces. Being in relationships, what's the right way to be in a relationship? What's the ideal kind of scenario? Should you be living together? Again, there's so much fucking pressure. I want to start by asking, and if you're comfortable answering that, are you a partner? And you live with your partner?
Yes, very, 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 very much. It's going to be this June 31st is going to be 5 years.
Lovely. And
Amazing.
did you? So tell us about what went through your process. What was your process of thinking when you live with him? And
Mhm.
did you ever question, is this the right way? And then did you sort of, do a backtrack and say, no, I will do it the way I want. We will define this the way we want. So tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
this.
So I think of 5 years of a relationship, I think we just moved in March. this year because it was not a very conducive environment for us to be in, because I was with my parents while he was all by himself here. I was trying to find ways to, start moving in and living in with him, but we managed, right? But I think we were one thing very clear with the fact that, hey, we're going to go on terms that we want to set, right? We are not going to rush into everything.
Yeah.
And the fact that we don't need to really be answerable to many people. So we took our, time, effort, energy to invest in who we are, what is it that we want. We kept the communication open with regarding to the likes, the dislikes that we have, and take that forward. Yes, we were in a better space in the fact that we were staying apart, in the sense we used to meet over weekends, or I used to go to his place, he used to come over to my place, we spent some time, and then we used to go back to our own zones. But I think it kind of continued on. I think this pandemic really brought us together, the fact that, what, it is time. We have been putting it off, or I have been putting it off, because of reasons being at home and taking care of my parents. And I said, what, I need to shift from this taking care to being in the relationship with my partner in the same place. So, we finalized, decided, and this March we moved into a place which is inclusive in the fact that the owner knows about us, and he's absolutely got no issues.
And
I was very upfront.
How did you get around that? Like, did you actively look for someone who would understand, or when you were searching, you just spoke to the landlord and said, hey, this is the situation?
Yeah.
Well, and did you get rejections on the way? Was this your first apartment that you saw, or?
I've seen many apartments, but then somehow the houses were not that great. I saw this apartment, and I kind of locked in, and then I said, what? Okay, it's time for me to talk about him and, tell, hey, they're going to be two people, and he's my partner, and, we've been in this relationship for like 4.5 years, and, we want to take the next level. He was excited. He's like, yay, good. I'm glad that you're kind of going to go ahead and start this off in my house, right? So I think I was lucky. I would say I was very, very lucky in that fact. I've seen many houses, but I've never spoken to the owners until I decided that it is the place. And I was not hesitant, to be honest. If he had rejected me, I would have said, you know what, thank you very much. I'm going to take my business or to somebody else who's going to pay else. Yeah. So I think it was there. But I kind of had some hope, because he was also a youngster. I was again with that bias that maybe he understands, but I also went that, what if he's not? Then I'm just going to walk off. And that is something that I was very particular, that the owner needs to know who we are. And I have a pet, and I'm a pet parent. So all these need to be a part of the whole package deal. If you don't like it, that's okay. It's not that yours is the only house. There are many houses.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So there will be somebody, and then I will fight it out. Not fight it out. I will search for it and make sure that I find a place, and that's okay to go through that process. So we went through. It was great, and we have started figuring out ourselves, being with each other 24/7. So at times, yes, it does feel like you want to clobber the other person's neck, or at times like, I love you, I miss you, you're the best thing in the world. So we are going through that, pendulums of the extremes, and we are there somewhere in between, figuring it out.
Yeah.
But we also said this one thing before moving in as well. No matter what, we are going to fight a lot. We are probably going to love a lot as well, right? It is going to be a process. So let's be open to it.
Yeah.
We may want to say, screw you. Let's, end this off. There are going to be situations like that. But I think let's take a step back. Once we are in that, situation, let's take a step back, cool our heads, and then think, what does it really mean? What are we in for it?
Yeah.
So all those conversations we had, but I think at not at any given point, we said, we want to be in this relationship because it's a stereotypical relationship of, the heteronormative people. We don't want to do that. That is something that we've spoken about, and we say like, let's figure things out as we've moved in, right? So let's focus on getting us to know each other a lot more better, and figuring out what are our trigger points, what are our plus points, all those things. Let's take one step forward at a time. Let's not run too much.
Yeah.
And let's walk right now because it's easy. Yes, we know that we've been in a relationship for 4.5 years, but then that's a different aspect of our
Yeah.
relationship. Now we're moving in and we're going to be that 24/7. There's going to be conversations on finances, money, and work, and what is it that you like, what is it that I like. Oh, I'm paying for it as well, so I need these things as well. So how do we really adjust and how do we manage those tricky situations? I think that's where we are at, and it's
That's
beautiful.
amazing. That's amazing. Farhad, what's your idea of and I know you used to live in with your boyfriend, right?
Yeah.
So has your idea of a relationship changed, or in the years that have followed?
Entirely. As in,
So what would your ideal scenario be if let's say you were in a relationship tomorrow? What
Honestly,
would
this is a very stressful question because I have forgotten how to be in a relationship.
no, I mean,
And
leave
I
that
do not know.
aside. Leave that aside. What would make
But
you
that's
happy?
what I'm saying right now. There are like boys that I want to date right now, and obviously moving in and relationship and all is a little later on. But there are boys that I have found extremely compatible who I'm willing to. I'm just waiting for this whole thing to end. But I have said this repeatedly. I don't know how I'm going to do it again. I don't know how I'm going to share my space or share a bed or like how to. I see my idea of a relationship is one extensive. It's an extensive amount of time just discussing what's for the next meal. That's my idea of a perfect relationship. Like planning and prepping and for the next meal, or what are we watching next. But even in that, I've got so fucking my way or the highway that I have to do a lot of introspection at this point if I have to
Same.
even consider a relationship, because I feel so. Again, I keep saying I feel like I'm self-partnered right now. I'm content with the way things are. There are moments where I'm hugging my soft toy so hard that I'm like, okay, do you need another person in life? There are moments
And
where I'm like,
this person doesn't give me any grief. So
no, as in sometimes I really, really introspect and I wonder why.
No, but I think also now people are slowly becoming or understanding how to be self-content. I think this pandemic,
absolutely.
so this is my perspective of this pandemic prior. I call it AC and BC, which is after COVID, before COVID, right? So before COVID, everybody felt, I need somebody to, fill all my gaps and fill my whole empty soul and blah, blah, blah.
Fill my hole also.
Yeah. Right.
Wow, how long was I gone for?
Yeah, you were
Like
gone
2
for a
minutes.
while.
When we went into filling my hole.
No, filling my whole
filling the void.
my whole
and-
empty soul and my whole.
I was talking about filling the void, and you all went into filling the hole.
Yeah,
Well, we
it's
are
the
talking
same
about
thing.
filling the void.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing, for us.
yeah.
But but I think before that it was all about I need somebody else to really, make me feel complete.
Yes, and
Right?
that's we need to
Yeah.
get over that, right?
No,
That's
but
what I was
that is
saying, a
also
lot-
okay. But it's
Yeah.
okay as well, right? But I think with after COVID or even while we are in this pandemic, I think now we're getting to understand what are the things that we really like. What is our passion? What is the key things that keep us happy? Now, post COVID, I'm super excited for after COVID is because now everybody's going to start looking at people who would make them feel better. And motivate them to be a better version of themselves. Right now, or prior COVID, everybody was just trying to be very superficial. And there, trust me, I've heard a lot of relationships going sour because there was a lot of
Time with each other.
no, not even a lot.
stress.
No, it's not. Yes, stress is also added, but I think it was based on a little bit of falsehood, or there was no honesty in that relationship, or it was a little fake. Right, it was not genuine in a lot of aspects. They kind of somewhat said, let's go into a relationship. Why? Because I want to do posts on Instagram. I want to tell my friends I'm in relationship.
yeah.
It was very superficial. But when things came down to reality, when you are stuck, probably with yourself or, with your partner or the person in the relationship, then a lot of reality comes into picture.
Yeah.
Now, when you're away from each other, what is it that you really want? Is it that you want that hug, or you want that sweet message? Do you want that, hey, how are you? is the meaning of hey, did you have lunch a new meaning right now?
But
Before it was like
sometimes,
all of
sorry,
that
but
was really comes into
I
picture.
can't help but feel that, and I don't know if this sounds cocky, but
Hmm.
sometimes I feel like, hey, I've done the introspection, I've done the alone time, I
Hmm.
have reached a point in self love and self
Hmm.
betterment, in my self betterment journey. If it's viewed as a beaker, now that is full, and now that it's over brimming, I feel it's a little selfish. I want someone else to experience how much I love myself. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
I want someone else, and obviously, I want to love them too. But finding that level of like, oh, this person has fully accepted who they
No, I
are. Not
mean,
that,
I don't think that's selfish. I think
yeah.
it's just about saying that you figured a version of
Yes.
you, or you've evolved into a version of you that's finally something that you're happy, and
that's
you know is your
marketable. That's
no,
marketable.
not even that is one of your is at the moment your optimal sort of best, and you
Yeah,
want to
exactly.
share yourself in the
Sure.
best form always, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
do
Yeah.
we
Even
want to
in
share
fact,
ourselves in the worst possible way? Of course we don't.
so,
We kind of want to hide ourselves, so
in
it's
fact,
not selfish.
3 weeks ago, I sort of started going off the rails again. I've had to go back in therapy, get back on medication and stuff.
Mm,
And usually, this is the kind of shit that would immediately throw me off, right? Like, oh my God, I
mm.
can't be in a relationship while I'm at this level in my
Yeah.
mind. But somewhere, I have this invisible comfort now knowing that no, now, even if this comes and goes, which is a lifelong process of my
Mm.
mental health ups and downs,
Right.
I know I will never project that on someone else
Yeah.
or make someone else miserable
Yeah.
because I am feeling a certain way. I have a lot to give. I've got all my life to live. I've got all my love to give. So I feel like I am those two lines right now, and that I feel like I'm at my optimal
Mm.
right now, and I
Hmm.
want someone else to like also value that, and I
Yeah.
want to value them in return. Yeah.
I agree, and I have a little bit of a different perspective too on this in terms of I, we were talking before this, Suresh. I've always lived by myself,
Hmm.
since the age of like 20-ish. So I've never shared a space with someone to the point that sometimes I feel this level of self-reliance and self-dependence comes to bite me back in my ass, because
Hmm.
when people try and come close to help me, I kind of push them away. But having come to a point where I am comfortable with that space, I'm comfortable with knowing that I have that power. I know what I want. I don't want someone to fill a lag or fill a
Hmm.
gap. I want someone to make me feel even better. Of course,
Right.
I will want to do that too. And I will
Hmm.
be there for that person. But for me, it's about saying that I want that person, not need that person.
Right.
And I know this is coming from intense privilege
Right.
of having the privilege of being self-dependent, which not everyone has. But that's where I'm at right now, and I
Hmm.
feel like I don't want to give in, and I don't want to kind of get into a relationship because you're supposed to be in a relationship. Because
Right. Yeah.
for me, I'm happy with the way things are. I
True.
I have gentlemen callers who this sounds so
Gentlemen callers.
I have
Oh
gentlemen
my
callers
God.
who are, and this is something that
Right.
Farhad and I've spoken about before. We call, let's call it what it is, fuck buddies, who for me aren't on a no name basis. They are friends for me.
Yeah.
We share emotions, and at the same time we are very comfortable with the fact that we are not trying to be committal with each other,
Hmm.
and we are comfortable with that. We are
See, but
And yeah.
okay
that's what
with.
Shanedra,
Yeah.
I feel that exactly, but a lot of times I feel like there's always, and I don't know if it's related to or connected to being gay, but I always feel like there's the other side of the coin where that happens, where on one level I'm like, wow, now I'm willing to be patient and wait for the right person who kind of accepts me the way I am. I accept the way they are. But then the reality of relationships is that where you meet or you are with a certain person who meets certain criteria, and then
Mhm.
you're willing to build on that and work on that and make something beautiful together, have the same goals, have the same visions, all of that, right? And sometimes I'm like, oh wait, but till that happens, I have become too picky then, because oh, this person is not that, this person is not that, this person is not going to be that, this
Right.
person, and then I'm like, so on one level, what I feel confident about and what I cherish about myself right now, and I value myself about, on another level, when I'm not cherishing and valuing myself, it's easy for me to slip into a, oh dude, you become so fucking picky, man, and you are constantly like finding ways to negate another person, and you're constantly,
Right. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's a solution to this, but I constantly feel like I'm stuck in this dichotomy constantly, where the thing that makes me feel nice also is the exact thing that when it's not making me feel nice makes me question, like, hey, have you become too blank, like, whatever, fill that blank with whatever. Have you become too judgmental? Have you become too dismissive? Have you become too short tempered? Have you become too everything, like, I feel like I don't know how to get out of that. But again, I have some invisible patience now, at least the older I get, that, you know what, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I'm not gonna beat myself up
Yeah.
or feel bad about it till
Exactly.
it
Exactly.
happens.
You know,
Till it happens.
I was in that position as well.
Hmm.
So I turned 30 a decade, almost going to be a decade back, right? And I was like, oh my god, I'm still single. What's going to happen to me? And I'm like, after a couple of years, I'm like, hey, you know what? If I'm going to be single, it's all right. It's okay for me to be single. I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to really do what is required for me. And I'm going to go ahead and start doing things that I really love, appreciate. And I'm going to focus on those things. If
Yeah.
somebody comes my way during that time, I'm
Great.
going to, see how it goes.
Yeah.
So that was how I started really focusing on myself. When I started focusing on myself, I had this new energy, this new zen, or whatever you have to call the aura and all of that. And I felt nice about it, and I
And
wanted
can I
only
you-
somebody else to come and pick me up from there. Yeah.
Do
Can
you
I say
think-
some sorry, can I say something seemingly frivolous though, in relation to this? There was a phase where I was feeling like, okay, now I have chosen to be alone. It's not like I'm lonely or I'm feeling but I've started
Yes.
to bring it up in therapy, and one day my therapist asked me, okay, what's the fear here? Like, why are you worried that you are 60 and you are going to end up alone? And why is that a bad thing, basically?
Yeah.
That you're 60 and you're alone.
Mhm.
And surprisingly, I did not know I was doing this for as long as I was worried about that. I used to constantly imagine a scenario where I fall, I crack my hip, and no one is there to pick me up.
You know
Okay?
what?
And
You know what?
then
That's-
suddenly my therapist was like, has that happened to you in your life? And suddenly I was like, yeah, that happened to my favorite uncle who never got married, who kind of one day fell. He couldn't reach to the phone even. And for like almost 24 hours, nobody knew that he has fallen in the house. He was just lying. He pissed himself. You know what I mean? And
Got it.
it somehow got so embedded in my psyche that I did not realize that on some level I'm worried about ending up alone because of that incident. So,
you know
which
what?
is
That's so. This is exactly what I also want to point out, that sometimes this idea of what all the negative things that might happen is actually more stressful and hostile than the reality. And so as a result, we work ourselves up into
so
this
much.
in this, oh my god, I will be alone.
Yeah.
Go with the flow now. Relax.
my therapist did the funniest thing when I said that. He just slid a blank piece of paper across the table. He's like, okay, you're worried that you'll end up alone and you'll crack your hip and no one will be there. Just write down the probability of that happening on this paper. And I'm suddenly like, I don't know if that's going to happen or no. Then he's like, why are you thinking about this also?
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
exactly. So with that coming into pictures, what I wanted to say is that we really don't have that some sort of representation in some form.
Exactly.
We are just making it in our heads. Now, to talk about heteronormativity or the heterosexual lifestyle, it has been thrown around like in various forms, be it movies, neighbors, and all of that. But being single is not really spoken about. Being in a gay or a queer relationship is not shown, or it's not really spoken about. So if we start having those conversations like what we're having right now, it's okay to be single, it's okay to be in a relationship, it's okay to be in a relationship with multiple people.
Yes,
it's okay to have fuck buddies. It's okay that you
like for
do whatever you want.
Like for me, my ideal scenario would be adjacent apartments, not
Right.
stay in the same apartment.
He
That's
always
Adjacent
okay.
apartments.
Sunetro
Yeah.
and his adjacent apartments. He's Farah Khan basically. He wants a building, and all his lovers he buys one floor for each person.
Well, that's perfect.
It's
I mean, why
lovely.
not? Why
Of
not?
course, of
But
course.
again, I think each individual should go ahead and decide what sort of relationship they want to be in and be honest about it. It's
Mm.
okay, like, no, I want to have just fuck buddies all my life, or you know what, I just want to keep switching on partners every now and then. That's okay. Admit it and
Yeah.
accept it. But I think there's a lot of shame around it also
Yeah.
because it is not the stereotypical thing.
But then
And
who wrote the guidebook on how to be queer? There is no guidebook. So
There is no-
guys, you
I-
write it.
I know, I feel that's what I'm telling people, don't go ahead and ape another person's lifestyle because it is very rosy. They are just putting it out there. You
Putting
don't
it
know
out
what
there.
shit is happening out there.
What Suresh said and what you're saying right now about representation and what you just
Yes.
said, I felt that when I finished watching Schitt's Creek the first time. That wow, we are running on such a serious lag,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
jet lag almost in terms of. Because here I am suddenly confused, right? I'm cynical and jaded, and I see this couple on screen, and I'm like, wait, is this real? Can this
Yeah,
happen?
think
Can a
no
relation?
biggie.
Can it
Check out.
happen?
You should check out the new Netflix series. I don't know if you've seen the special.
Yeah, I
the
love
second,
it.
The second version as well. I
Absolutely
was like,
love it.
wow, it was like
Beautiful.
amazing. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the kind of way they kind of circle around relationships
And
how
sexuality.
you say no to it, sexuality,
Yeah.
everything. So I think we need to have those conversations. And for me, I feel somehow, I wish somebody in India can really take this conversation forward and bring
Yeah.
Indian representation because,
Yeah.
I feel, yes, it's great that we have representation global.
But then it's still
predominantly
it's-
US-centric.
Exactly, right?
We
still
need
can't
Indian-centric
completely
Understand
follow
that.
that. Yeah.
Because for us, we are still very deep rooted in family values
exactly.
and having a sense of a group or a community. For
Yeah,
them, it's
yeah.
individualism right from
Yes.
the day that they're born.
Yes.
They're put aside and they are given their own bed or their own crate and they have
then
to
you
live
fend.
and survive.
Yeah.
Here it is like mummy's there, dadi's there, tata, grandfather is there,
And how do
all of that.
you traverse all of that?
How do you manage all of that when you're growing up, and then your own confusion of your sexuality or understanding, and then you grow up with that, but you don't want to give up on your family values or be it even religious values.
Yeah.
If you're a religious person, should I give that up just because I'm gay and because that religious community says that being gay is not right? But
Sorry,
I
but then
want to.
I want to ask you, Suresh,
Mhm.
doing what you do
Mhm.
as a job or as work, do you feel there's been a shift, a tectonic shift, or any sort of change that has happened in this particular, whether it's self-acceptance, how companies are dealing with this, how corporations are? Have you noticed any kind of like visible shift now? Because in
See,
a lot
there-
of ways, I feel like even though things seem better, things are getting better and all of that, I just feel like, hey, it's still not better for a lot of people. So is it really better?
See, 1.35 billion population, right? And privileged people with corporates, right? Corporates, again, majority of them are multinational, right? Indian-based companies are again there, but they're really not there so much. So if you have to talk about it, and I don't want to generalize this because it is not right. Now, when you talk about multinational companies, yes, they're getting progressive because, again, a lot of them are hiding behind the Section 377 law. Now that it's out, people are coming out and having those conversations. Are we there yet? No. Are we biased? Yes. Are we homophobic, transphobic, biphobic, all phobias there? Yes. Is work being happening? Yes. Is it getting better? It is in baby steps format. We can't really change the mindset of the organization in a year's time. Culture doesn't happen so quickly, but is there a progressive and, are they making a conscious effort to bring that change? Yes. Understand this. The people who are working in the organization are people from the society and the community itself. Now, when the society itself is so messed up with, homophobia around, be it in social media, be it with movies, be it with series or even news, now they are the same people who come to organizations, right? And they work. Now, but the culture overall is trying to say, let's be inclusive, let's be supportive, let's be understanding. Will that take time? Yes. And what is the time frame? We really don't know. but we make a conscious effort to bringing that conversation up every now and then. We start celebrating, we bring that awareness, we bring that sensitization. Is it a one-time process? No. Is it a continuous process? Yes. We need to keep having those
Yeah.
conversations. Is that happening? Yes. In some places, is it happening? Yes. In all places, definitely no.
Yeah.
Right? In Indian companies, are they bringing that conversation? Yes. But, again, the fact is, do they want to shift or they rock the boat, which is sailing smoothly, and bring this conversation up? Why? Because there's a lot of homophobia around. Right? Do they want to do that? Do they want to thread this a conversation a little more better? So it is a tug of war, but a lot of companies are taking that extra effort of being cautious and saying, no, we need to do the right thing for the people, we want to do for the community. What is the stance in it? So they are doing it. Leaders are being there. It is not that leaders are not understanding, they are understanding. But also look at it this ways: they want to do the right for everybody, and at times it does happen that they may drop some things.
Yeah.
And is it right? Is it wrong? I don't think so. We are in that position to really judge that.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. And and sitting in that position of power of leading an organization or leading a company, where you have to look at your business, you have to look at your profits, you have to make sure your employees are there. Now,
You tend to prioritize. You tend to
prioritize at some time, and then you have to deprioritize something, and because at that point in time you need to give focus to something. Right? But is the intent there to be inclusive? Everybody wants that because there's a lot of conversation happening. But what is the priority at that point in time? I think we at times, which even I have done this. Now I'm taking a step back and assessing, we are sitting in a community and we are understanding our community a little more. So we are within it, right? So we want things to happen quickly, and we say, hey, why can't you be inclusive of the LGBTQ plus community? As a person from the community, as a gay man, I'm still figuring out the community by large, right? Do I understand every aspect of the community? No. When I myself am learning, imagine somebody completely new, does not have any idea about LGBTQ plus community, and we're shoving things.
Yeah, like let's give people time. Let's give people the space to kind of breathe, and then things will fall into place, essentially.
Recently I was in a clubhouse room where someone brought up this concept of gay couple envy, which is basically, I don't know if you all know Prayag and Porus. They were in a group. They were in a room talking about how they got married, how they've been together for first of all, everyone's reaction was like they were witnessing a unicorn. Like, wow, oh my God, people get married.
No, so that's exactly what we need to kind of. The reason is because just one or two unicorns. The point is there are so many different ways to be that you find your own unicorn, you find your own way to be a unicorn, and that is okay.
No, what I mean was we are at a point in time where it is almost, we can't wrap our minds around the fact that, hey, two gay men still find themselves, can build something together, can be in a relationship.
I think it's more about you have to understand they don't stay in India. That's why they get to.
Okay, they are just an example. A lot of times.
No, so that's now the issue is that a lot of us, a lot of this idolizing and sort of gay couple envy comes from non-Indian sort of archetypes, and what we don't.
Even Indian people settled abroad.
Exactly. Yeah. So there has to be let's just decode it a little and say, boss, we are in India, and there are and that's where I think representation kind of helps. If people say that this is how I'm living, it helps. You don't have to by any means, but the more you see, the more you can be. So
which is why one of the reasons I love following Suresh. I've followed him ever since we met the first time on Keeping It Queer. But I love you guys sing together sometimes. You make a little video out of it. You work out together, and sometimes just to see that kind of is such an affirmation in a lot of ways. Like it's an unexpected affirmation, because I don't know how often we come across stories like that anymore.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, yeah, we have to wrap this up now. And I think one of the things that I just want to kind of leave everyone with is that this is exactly what Suresh was saying, right? That as a single individual, as someone who's in a relationship with one person, with many people, with more than that, um, find your way. The point
Yes.
is, as long as you are comfortable with it and the other person's comfortable with it, that's in a relationship. As long as you're content, that's fine. So find
Mhm.
your own way of being proud of yourself in relationships, as a single person, as someone in,
Easier said than done, okay, Sunetro?
See, nothing comes easy, darling.
Yeah,
Nothing
of
comes
course.
easy.
Nothing
There is
comes
always
easy.
there's always a struggle. But then you know what? I always tell this to people. Hey, it's one bloody life that you all have. Make it worth it.
yeah,
No matter what struggles you have to go through. But at the end of the day, when you sit back and relax, do you get that peaceful sleep?
Yeah.
You know, of just being yourself. Yes,
Yeah.
I've gone
I
through the
always
struggles
think,
of being kicked out.
Yeah.
I know I'm not in that position to really talk about it, but then you have that satisfaction and, you have that sense that, you know what, I'm happy being who I am.
yeah,
no, I've realized that
Yeah.
anytime the prefix self is there, when
Yes.
you're trying to process something for yourself, whether it's
Yeah.
self-love, self-positivity, self anything, self-belief, self anything, I have learned that it's super tough. I
It is
just
not
joked
easy.
about easier said than done.
of
But the
course.
moment you kind of get in a place where you've kind of cracked it, even not even figured
Yeah.
it out, because you never figure these things out, right? You
Yeah.
constantly grow, you evolve, whatever.
Yeah, it's a lifelong process.
It is every time you even crack it a little, it's one of the most valuable gifts you give yourself. Right,
True.
Yeah.
right from
Yeah.
learning how to cook yourself a meal
Yeah.
to like basically self-independence, self-reliance, I love my tits, I love
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The moment all those selves you start putting it, they're like the best gift you keep giving
I
yourself.
agree.
No Amazon can
True.
deliver that.
And also, you know what, just to kind of call this out also, you go about asking any trans person the struggles that they have gone through,
Of course, yeah.
But end of day, they will say, I'm happy with, even though with all the struggles that I've gone through, I'm happy today for who I am. No matter if I'm begging or if I'm selling my body for money and I'm feeding my stomach, I'm happy for who I am and what I am. People are coming to me for who I am today.
Yeah.
And if that is a struggle, that is okay, because I am happy and this is what I want.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it is so powerful in its own ways. I wish people from the community and, the heterosexuals also, the straight people get that.
Yeah.
Because even the straight people are living a bloody lie. They are not able to live a life that they want to live, be it in a
True.
relationship,
Yeah,
be it
yeah.
being single, being it in a poly relationship, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not living. So they are stuck
Exactly.
also in a closet by their own ways. If you
Yeah,
come out of the
yeah.
closet and live your life, I think that's fabulous.
Yeah. So on that note, we shall sort of end this amazing episode and we'll get right back to the final section, which is recommendations. So stay tuned. All right, quick recommendations, because we want people to be happy and we want people to consume things that make them just fuzzy and good. So Farhad, why don't you start? What would you recommend for the week?
Fuzzy and good is far from what
I
I'm
mean,
about to
whatever.
recommend.
Like,
Also, I'm about to recommend something that I can write down and say must have never been recommended on an LGBTQIA plus show.
Mhm.
I'm rewatching The Sopranos. And
yay, Pride Month.
I can't believe I'm about to I'm not going to recommend The Sopranos, first of all, but I just want to quickly say that I'm feeling amazing right now just because I'm watching this show. First of all, I'm someone who hates anything related to the mafia. I don't give a shit
Got
about
it,
The
Farhad,
Godfather.
your recommendation. Give me the recommendation. We don't have that.
No, I have to. Why? I love The Sopranos because as a gay man, I love this ensemble cast of so many men who just are deeply flawed individuals. And honestly, I thought The Sopranos was about gang wars and mafia and all, but it's actually about the mafia boss, the boss of a mafia group. who actually has deep rooted mommy issues.
Hmm.
So a majority of the show is him sitting in a room with a shrink, and these conversations are literally a major chunk of the 4 seasons I've watched so far. And I had no idea the Sopranos was that, just constantly talking about the shit that is in his life in therapy. I love the Sopranos. So in case if someone wants to watch something heavy on the therapy side and actual good therapeutic advice, it's in the Sopranos, which is like the least Pride Month recommendation ever.
All right,
Okay.
Suresh, what's your recommendation? What would you
Well-
want people to read or watch
Okay.
or listen to?
So
This
3 things I'm just going to quickly say. One is please go watch Pose. I think that's brilliant, amazing.
What a brilliant show.
And if you're watching the second season, please have tissue papers around you because
yeah.
you're going to be bawling out.
Yeah.
I know
The
which
other
scene
one-
you're talking about.
Yeah, well, all of them.
All
I
of
think
them,
I've been
yeah.
crying right from the start. And the second one is Special. It's a
Absolutely.
Netflix series. Watch that up, and you get to understand a lot more about the queer community, the relationships, and all. So that is about watching.
Yeah.
If you're reading, please go read. And if you're in a workplace, if you're working as well, read Parmesh Sahani's Queeristan. Very, very essential, very important. Gives you a load of stuff and information about how can you make your workplace more inclusive, and also try and do that outside. How can you go help NGOs and organizations which are working on grassroots level issues as
Yeah.
well. So go read and watch them out.
All right.
Amazing.
And my recommendation is this musical artist called Perfume Genius, Michael Hadrius, and his last album, which was, I hadn't heard the last album prior to this. It's called Set My Heart on Fire Immediately, and I kind of got into it last week. He's an out proud man, and he's beautifully out. Like he embraces it in a beautiful way, and his music has so many different queer themes, and that kind of travel around his lyrics and the kind of music he does. Listen to it. Set My Heart on Fire Immediately by Perfume Genius. It's
Sunetro, I love you for bringing up Perfume Genius, one of my
Amazing.
all-time favorite artists. In fact, I have to quickly say a Danish music app got in touch with me recently and asked me if I will curate a Pride Month playlist for them. And in my first 3 artists, Perfume Genius instantly went in there because
Wow, that's nice.
it's not the obvious gay music.
Yeah,
but
it is.
But
if you're queer, you know that it's coming
beautiful.
from a queer place. So that's
stunning,
Okay.
stunning.
Yeah. All right. So another episode for Pride. So happy to have you. What a lovely conversation,
Thank you.
Suresh. Thank you for being here. And always lovely talking to you, Farhad. So yeah, another episode, another episode comes to an end. So happy Pride, guys.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Happy
Suresh.
Pride. Thank
Happy
you.
Pride.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye.